everybody, Tori here, and today we have something super special. Today we were talking about social fitness. This is one of my favorite pillars of mastering your mindset that we all need to work on. And this is my friend Justine, who is an expert on social fitness. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her introduce herself, and we're going to take it from there.
Oh my gosh, Tori, I am so passionate about this topic as well. So when you brought this up, I was like, yes, we're doing it totally. So yes, for those of you that don't know me, I am Justine Mader. I am a coach, a speaker, and part agency owner as well. I am located in Minnesota. I'm a wife and mom, the best two parts of my life, and wouldn't trade that for the world. But I get to do really cool stuff like talk about social fitness with amazing people like Tori and bring you all the secrets and tips that really, I think life can bring all of us in due time, but we want to help you get those questions answered right away and maybe save you some of those tripping points. As an introvert, social fitness has been a long journey, but I'm so excited to jump right into it with you guys.
Awesome.
So I guess for me, the number one thing when it comes to social fitness was my mindset as an introvert was I'm probably not going to be good at it. And I think that social norm can kind of be a stigma. And I'm not one for stigmas. I don't think that we need those, but it does happen, right, you guys? So if you find yourself, putting that label on yourself, hey, I'm an introvert, or hey, I'm an extrovert, because social fitness relates to both, that we are not, causing any diversion here. But what I would want you to consider is if you're putting that label on yourself, that's already a mindset, right? That's already a limiting belief that you're considering to be acceptable, right, Tori? Like, man, that can totally screw with you.
Right. It's already a negative story that you are implying to yourself that is not going to take you to where you want to be.
Absolutely not. Well, and it's like, yeah, you're already giving yourself negative points when you're trying to get positive points. So what we're going to do is totally just reframe that mindset. So when we talk about social fitness, that's going to apply to all of us. We're all on an even playing field. What does being socially fit mean in this modern state and world that we're living in? Now, guys, I know this is a extraordinary time that we are in. So social fitness kind of has a different meaning as well for 2020. So I'm going to kind of go off what we're doing now so that you can implement and use this as tangible advice to work on today, okay? So when I think of social fitness, I think of how you socially engage, impact, and inspire people around you, regardless of what it is that you do. So if you are a business owner, entrepreneur, kind of in the space like Tori and I, then more often than not, you're going to have teams that are depending on you. And, there's going to be a ladder, there's going to be a leadership climb. But when it comes to people fueling off your energy, your social fitness is going to be really good or probably struggling a little bit. So when we're talking about where you find yourself, please don't be ashamed. We're all working on becoming better. So that this is not a shame show. This is a how do we become better together. And so what I want to encourage you today to consider is, okay, where am I at? Am I struggling with social interactions online? Because most of our interactions are online right now or on the phone. And sometimes things get mixed up. Tori, the biggest one my heart goes out to is emails and texts when it's not, you
Messenger.
can't hear.
Messenger, you can get things all screwed up too.
Yes.
And because Messenger is really big if you're always on Facebook.
Yes, huge value point that Tori just dropped there is Messenger is becoming such a big part of not only our life, but our businesses. And it's really crucial that when you're considering your communication standards, how you say something, what you're using to say it, to clearly convey your message, it's probably going to take practice, right, Tori? So in Messenger, it's one of those things to connect with people on a daily basis, but what about the people that you work with all the time? If that's somewhere that you use to connect with them, can they understand that you're excited to be, tackling Q4 with them? Can they feel that passion in your message? Or do you do a voice? I love using the voice audio because then it's like I'm there, I'm talking to them. I love that. But I know not everybody feels that way. But when you're using your communication standards, regardless of where it is in your business, you want to make sure that you take a step back and ask yourself, does this convey the message in the tone and the gravity? Is this serious? Is this important? Do you say, hey, we have a deadline to meet? Do they realize, oh man, Tori's serious? Oh, geez, drop everything else. This is priority. Like, you have, especially as the leader, we're all going to be leaders because we lead ourselves, right? So I don't care what you do, whether you're the VA, the CEO, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, you need to be able to lead yourself and clearly convey the message. So communication, social engagement, all comes with practice, but we won't know unless we take that step back to be like, does this actually say what I wanted to say?
Right.
We're always going so fast. I mean, Tori, I could message 1 million people in an hour, but do I actually connect with them the way that I want? And I think the cool thing about what Tori and I are doing today is this is based on a relationship. Her and I connected in Messenger and developed a relationship. We took time to invest into each other and to develop an actual of like, hey, how can I serve you? What we should totally serve your people and bring this talk and these, tips and hacks that we've discovered. And so it's one of those things like we're living example of that. So
Right.
what could that look like in your business? This is an example of social fitness when you're willing to take the time to actually convey the message. I care about Tori. Tori cares about me. Hey, how can we support each other moving forward in 2020? Hey, let's do an interview. Okay, perfect. Let's do it. So you guys, like, the opportunities are there, but if you don't slow down to acknowledge what messages you're saying, you won't be able to clearly communicate what it is that you're trying to share, whether it's your team, a new relationship, or anything like that. Those are a couple of the big points that really hit me coming into 2020, because now we're not seeing each other in the office. Now we're really focusing on this online space, whether that's Messenger, Zoom, Facebook, any of the other social media platforms. It kind of changed the game, but we kind of have the rule book. We kind of decide how that goes down, but we got to be able to take that control back, slow down, and be like, is this what I want to say? Introvert, extrovert, doesn't matter. We all express what we want to feel differently, but we want to make sure that that's communicated clearly to those we're talking to.
With 2020, it's made it, to me, it seems like it's even a bigger challenge, because it was a challenge before for people to be able to put themselves out there, because that's kind of what you have to do.
Yes,
to
you do.
meet new people. And you, as entrepreneurs, everything is online anyways. So it
Yes.
gets to a point that you kind of one day wake up and realize, okay, all my friends are online.
Here we go.
I need to get out of the house and meet somebody, or have some girlfriends that I can go and just decompress with, and either have like-minded girlfriends that understand your entrepreneur spirit,
Absolutely.
or have the other group that you can still connect with them, yet you don't talk business. But
Absolutely.
You have to, and a lot of people I don't think realize how important that is for just good mental health. And when it's so challenging now, it makes it even for the people that are like, okay, well, I'm comfortable in my cubby hole, that then you don't want to get out of your cubby hole. And then you're just like, when you do have that opportunity to talk to people, you don't know how to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
just like
Well, and
younger
I think you
kids
brought up a
being
huge point. 2020 has totally kind of like knocked mental health in a way that social fitness is on like the furthest back burner that it's ever been. And I think that for entrepreneurs, it's such a rocky scale right now. We're coming up to elections. This is not a political talk, but there's a lot of things that can be impacted at this time. And so for people to realize that putting yourself out there doesn't mean that you're going to make yourself vulnerable all the time.
Right.
Putting yourself out there doesn't mean casting your pearls before swine, or, talking to people all the time that don't care about what you're doing. But what Tori said, which is so important, and I got to reiterate it, is knowing who you're talking to and about what subjects. Because you probably have a couple of girlfriends that are going to make sure you have a good girlfriend time. And you probably have a couple of other girlfriends that are your boss babes that are like, hey, what are we doing in fourth quarter? What do your numbers look like? Hey, what are we launching? What are we doing? Like, that is where you're going to not compartmentalize, but you're going to just know, what does this relationship hold for me, and how can I grow in this relationship, put myself out there, invest in that relationship, even if it means doing a Zoom call instead of going to their house because of current conditions, right? So I love that you brought up the fact that not everyone is going to be that same person, that's the same support for everything. That's huge, Tori.
Right. Well, and if you have kids and stuff, because I know like you have a child,
I
that you
do.
have to work with them on being social fit as well. And
Absolutely.
it's like a whole new time for them, because when we were little, you ran outside, you played with everybody in your neighborhood. Well, today, you don't even see kids out in the neighborhood, at least in Las Vegas, you don't. And so I'm always
No.
like, where are they? Where are they playing at? And most of the time it's in the video games, which to me is kind of scary, because
Yes.
man, video games are not the same like they used to be. And the different
That's
things
an understatement.
the different things that, I mean, it's like watching an adult movie sometimes, that I'm just like, what is happening in this?
It's a changing world, and I think that that's the main takeaway that I got from just the wisdom you dropped there, Tori, is that in this changing world, to keep up with it, we have to be consistently growing, practicing, putting ourselves in places to grow, get a little uncomfortable, and figure it out, because our kids are watching. They are the next generation. So what is mommy doing? What is daddy doing? What, are your aunts and uncles? What is everybody else doing? And what do those influences mean on those children? My son is under the age of 2, and I don't give him my phone to play with. I have made choices that way, and I know everyone is more than entitled to do what they see best. But for me, I think it's really important that we save that, FaceTime with grandma, for that's the time that he can hold the phone. And like, that's his way of communicating when we can't go see her, right? And so it's just one of those things that I'm teaching him to use it as a tool versus as entertainment. And so that's how I choose to do it. But that's where, every parent, every business owner is going to have to decide what works for you. And it's okay if it's different, but social fitness is going to be there's probably different challenges for Tori than there are for me. And so doing a little bit of reflection is probably going to be the greatest way for you to grow in that space, because you're like, hey, I want to be like that girl over there. She's networking with all these people without a hitch. I mean, like, she's just killing it. What is she doing different? She's probably overcoming her demons, her self-doubt, her lack of confidence, and being like, hey, I got something to offer the world, and I'm going to bring a smile with me. That's not proud. That's not arrogant. That's called serving. That's called like impact. And so that's what Tori and I are all about. I mean, her smile is just totally beaming in my eyes. I love it. But it's just one of those things where, like, yeah, you can get down in the dumps and let that mindset control you. Be like, man, she's got it sorted. Man, she must be an extrovert. Yeah. That's not how it works.
You have to work on it. It's like,
yes, thank you, Tori.
To find local friends, I went into 2 groups that I was very active in, looked up under the membership and said, who's in my surrounding areas of Las Vegas? I then went through the list and was like, okay, who is somewhat a coach or into fitness, somebody that I can relate to? And then just sent them random messages. Hi, this is who I am. This is why I'm sending you a message. I'd love to be able to go to lunch with you sometime. If you have, a free day to just chit chat more. And I've met 2 people this way that I now have actual physical friends in Las Vegas.
She gave you the step-by-step formula, guys. She gave you she knew what she was looking for. She identified her ideal friend, in this case, not ideal client, ideal friend and support. She did the work. She did the research. She reached out, and look, she's now thriving with that. That's amazing. I'm so excited for you, because I can't make it to Las Vegas.
So, and we've done different things each time. We've gone bowling. We've done lunch. We're going to do pedicures this next time. but it gives her a new outlet as well. And
Yes.
it's funny because she has her own entrepreneur adventures going on, but we're at different levels. So I was able to
Yes.
bring her new value, and she was able to open up where her world is. And I was like, this is so cool. We're very similar. I was like,
This, that's what it's about, you guys. So when you're worried about what other people are going to think about you, it doesn't matter what they think. So don't even get stuck in that mindset. Like, that one goes out the window.
and they're
They
usually not thinking what you're thinking anyway. So that's the
Yes,
best part.
exactly. They probably don't even have those thoughts cross their mind. They're probably just like, oh, Tori, oh, hey, we should go do girl stuff. That sounds like a bomb. Like, it doesn't have to be what our little devil minds sometimes try to convince us that it is. And so, but in order to realize that, remember, take that step back. Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel attacked? Why am I intimidated? Because guess what? All of these people are human beings too. I was telling Tori earlier, I got off of the World Summit with Dean and Tony last weekend, and there were, golly, almost 8,000 people that were involved in this experience. But the reason I wanted to share this is because Dean and Tony were just as human as the rest of us. We were all relying on technology. We were all relying on each other to bounce off each other because we weren't there in person. We had to feel each other through the screen. We had to learn to communicate and feel that energy between each other to be like, hey, I get what you're saying. I feel the presence of what you're trying to share with me. We had to work on that. And so when you're able to experience that kind of thing on a human level, there's no bounds to what you could do with someone, and there's no limits, because you literally are both amazing human beings with missions and purposes, and there should be nothing that silences your voice in the world. And your level of social fitness completely depends on what you're willing to do, overcome the challenges, the mindsets that are holding you back. And no one's going to know those better than you, but these are some of the tips to get out of it.
Yes.
That's so amazing, Tori. I'm so glad that you did that, because taking action is, I think, the biggest scary thing for people. Don't you agree? Like, it's freaky. I mean, so for me, the next part I would love to encourage you guys to consider is, what is that step for you? You know, we've kind of done some reflection. You know where you're at. That's great. What is that next step for you? Is that reaching out to people online? Okay. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? Hold yourself accountable and do it. It's going to feel weird. Just do it. Just reach out to them. Send them a voice memo. Do a cool message like Tori did. And just be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Can't wait to meet you. And you'll be amazed at what happens. It's going to feel really odd, but then it could open doors to your social life that could support, could impact, could inspire you in ways that you didn't know you needed, because your mental health is extremely important right now. And finding those supports in, you know, other people outside of sometimes your immediate family is actually really important. And it's okay. Remember, not everybody has to be everyone for you. They don't have to be the supporter, the provider, the lover, they don't have to be. They may just be one thing, and they're going to be the best at that. The best girlfriend, the best entrepreneur mastermind. That's what life is about. It's about sorting this out. We're all on this journey. So you've done that reflection, you've considered your action, and you've set a time limit. What am I going to do? How am I going to do that? You know, are you going to create a mastermind to be like, hey, I'm ready to really go out there. I'm going to lead a mastermind, you know, or lead a Facebook group like Tori's doing. You know, I'm going to lead people because I believe in what I'm doing and I want to see them have a changed life. That's not easy to do.
Right.
But it becomes easier if you stay committed, if you keep that momentum rolling. And guess what? A friend tells a friend, tells a friend, tells a friend. And you're going to be the hot spot because you're changing lives. Not because you're, you know, scamming them out of anything. No, because you are the person that they need in their life. You showed up. You showed up when it wasn't easy. You overcame that mindset and limiting belief that you were maybe less than or not enough. We all have those thoughts. So please don't feel alone. But what matters is what you do with them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was like, everybody can be their best version, and it doesn't matter if yesterday, if you weren't, today is a whole new day. And that's the best part, is that You're going to have bad
Absolutely.
days, but as long as you leave those bad days behind you and you say, okay, today is a fresh new day, and today I'm not going to have that attitude. Because
Absolutely.
it's amazing that when you realize it, that they're all choices, and it's a choice that you get to make every day. And so and that no, you don't need anybody else to be happy.
No.
And a lot of people are like, oh, but you do. And I was like, no, because you make yourself happy first. And if you can't do that, then you've got to really look and say, why? Why am I not happy?
That's
And
a hard question.
yeah, it's a super hard question, but it's so important these days, especially
Absolutely.
with how everything is, and that you can feel so by yourself. But if you don't feel comfortable with yourself, then how are you going to be comfortable with others? And you won't be able to give to others 100% because you're not 100%. And it took me a while to realize that, but man, once you do, and once you realize that, holy moly, I am enough.
Well, and that's the crazy thing too, because like for me, the biggest thing that I had to learn when I had, so when I had my son, I did fall into a state of depression, you guys. I've been there. I've had dark spaces and times. The number one thing that got me excited was the thought of serving other people again. And that meant getting outside myself, getting back into that. But what I knew is I knew what that feeling of happiness was. I just didn't know how to create it the same way. And so since I was going through that life change, I decided for me, I was going to be happy trying this first. And so that was the mindset shift for me. And I think we've all had that before, but I just wanted to share that testimony with you. I've been there. That was the shift for me when I realized that, no, it wasn't anyone's fault. Here I was just blessed with a beautiful child. I have a supportive husband. I had it all, but it just didn't, I wasn't there. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. And it was a huge like light bulb moment when it hit me that I was making that decision to not be happy.
Right.
And what was I robbing of other people too? Because I believe we all connect to each other one way, shape, or form. And if I'm not being the best mom or the best me, I'm not being the best mom. I'm not being the best wife. And so it always starts with us. So any way you look at it, all the excuses still lead back, no matter how many twists and turns, they always lead back to us, to you, and the choices that you choose to make. And so I don't care about yesterday. I don't care about, what you're going to do tomorrow. I want to know about what you're going to do today.
Right.
And how you are going to change your level of social fitness today and then create that consistently throughout your life. So with that, people talk about implementation. How do you actually take that action? I would say start small, create a little bit of momentum that will grow. It'll grow with you and allow you to kind of become that person. Because like when you think of going to a gym, this is my greatest, I wish I could go to the gym once and be fit for the rest of my life. Oh, that is not how life works. But if you think about going to a gym and you start lifting weights, how many pounds do you start with? Very few.
Right.
2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, depends on who you are, right? You start with a little bit and you increase and you increase and you keep pumping that iron until before you know it, you're lifting 250 pounds, no sweat.
Right.
That's what social fitness means. Yes, exactly. And so it's one of those things where you start small, have the big vision. Please, 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 please have that vision of how you're going to impact, how you're going to become more socially fit and impact not only your business, but your employees, et cetera, et cetera. But start small. Be like, hey, how can I focus on my relationships with my employees? How can I focus on my relationships with my clients, my prospects, period? Whatever is the first on your list where you can work best. Remember that reflection. And then implement. And starting with 1, then maybe next week you add 2 and 3 and so on. And so you don't have to take it. It's like trying to climb the whole staircase in one jump. It doesn't work that way. Trust me. But if you take it one step at a time, before you know it, you're going to reach the top and you're going to be like, I am socially fit. I am what I set out to be. I am making progress. I am making impact. And that, my friends, is the whole goal of this conversation.
Yes, yes.
So Tori, I guess I would love to just question you on a couple of things. So I am an introvert, not to put a label, but I know myself to be an introvert just based on my nature, and Tori is not.
I
I
know.
would, I would, and I love it, and I love, we're such good friends already with that too, but I love the fact that she's so open about it. So I would love to know, as an extrovert, what would you say are like two of the biggest challenges being an extrovert when it comes to social fitness?
Sometimes it's wanting to do, like for me, because I can talk to anybody. One of it was kind of, I was like, what's special about me? And I was talking with Jeffrey, and he was like, well, do you realize that you have the ability to just walk into a room where you know no one and have conversations with everybody in the room without a problem? And I was like, what do you mean? And one of his favorite stories to tell is we were on the 2CCX end of the year cruise. And there was a little mixer happening, and he was engaged in a conversation with an individual, and they were having a good conversation. So somebody had called me away, and he said over the next like hour, he would look up every 15 minutes and look to where I was, and that I was never in the same spot.
And you were there.
I was talking with this person, then the next thing I was over here talking, and I had the best time because I was able to just engage. And for me,
Yes.
engaging with people lights me up. It gives me all kinds of energy, just listening and hearing about what different people are doing. And
Oh yeah.
it's I also have the ability to just remember little things. So if I've talked to you before, I'll come back and I'll be like, well, how's this special project going? And where are you with that? And most of the time people are like, how did you even remember that? And I was like, I don't know. It's just what stuck about you.
Oh, that's so powerful. So like, no, she's just killing it as an extrovert. But the couple of things that I heard from people that I know that are extroverts was that everyone expects you to be good at social fitness. Everyone expects you. It's almost like, if you're Warren Buffett, you can't win. You have to be like, winning 10 times more than anybody else. But introverts are considered underdogs. So if you're watching this and you're an introvert, extrovert, it doesn't matter. But especially if you're an introvert, you're considered an underdog in social fitness. Use that. Use that. Show them that you are totally a boss and you won't be defined by that stigma. And if you're an extrovert and you've got it nailed like Tori does, then I mean you're just a boss at it anyways. The other side of the coin was that I have found that extroverts don't understand when other people can't remember things like that, or they can't get out in a social engagement. And they're like, well, why don't you go talk to people? I'm going to go talk to these people. Why can't you just go talk to other people? Well, it is different, and we're all made really different. So if you are an extrovert, to have that, not courtesy, what am I trying to say? Have that compassion in the sense that, we all have different gifts and talents, and maybe that could be a chance for you to challenge someone and be like, hey, you go talk to one person, I'll go talk to one person, we'll talk in a few minutes. How about that? See how your first conversation goes and try to grow with that person. I don't want this to be all about introverts. I want this to be about extroverts helping other people too, because we have different benefits that can lend into social fitness. And I think that's something super powerful. Tori would be an amazing example of that and be like, hey girl, if you're stuck, you're going to go talk to one person. I'm going to go talk to one person. We'll come back for some champagne. Talk to you later.
Well,
And
I also can read people a little bit where I can see when they're uncomfortable. So
yes.
a lot of the times, if I see somebody that's uncomfortable, I'll walk up to them and say, hey, what's going on? And get them to shake off the uncomfortableness, because once you've kind of let loose a little bit and somebody else has kind of pumped you up a little bit, it's easier to go off and then conversate with somebody else. And so sometimes when I look at the room to see who is talking, I don't go to the people that are having conversations already. I look to the people that
the
are
wallflowers
standing there looking
yes
and I'm like, hey, you look like
yes
chat with you for a minute.
Oh, that's so powerful. And I don't think that's, vert specific. I think that that is just a total gem into being who you are, having the gift of intuition and having the care to be like, who can I love on today? Who can I really help, today? Whether it's, in a networking space, a family space, community. I think that's just part of, I feel like Jeffrey and you are just amazing helping people, and just, anytime you guys are just so giving. And I just love that that's pouring out of you. But the other tip that I want to leave before we kind of wrap this up, you guys, is I am really good at what I call switching mindsets. And the way that I switch is like, if you imagine putting on a pair of glasses, like sunglasses or a ball cap. I have a mom's hat. I have a wife hat. I have a boss mom hat. I have a daughter hat. They all have different elements of me and social fitness in them. And they all have different parts of the human being that I am, because I'm a different person for my husband than I am for my dad.
Right.
And that's great. You are not being multiple personality disorder, and you are not. My dad is a psychologist. We've had this conversation many times. So if you want to talk about this more, let me know.
And that's so important, because a lot of people don't get concerned that they have to be different with different people. And it's like, no, that's just who you are. You can't be the same 100% of the time, because then you're not who that person needs.
Exactly. So I think when it comes to social fitness, keeping the same standards of your being who you are, the things you stand for, the missions you have, I don't think that changes, Tori. And I think that's why people should confidently be able to go, regardless of what, hat they're trying to wear in that space and experience. Because just like you said, that's really important for people to realize, is that you're not being false. You're not being fake. It's one of those things that you have to be a different person because you are a wife. You're not your dad's wife. Like, no, you're your wife, your mom, you're all these things. And sometimes people get overwhelmed by that, and that's okay. You don't have to wear all the hats at the same time. You put one on and you switch it out with another one. You don't wear them all. Don't try to wear them all, because it's a lot. That's a stack of hats. Yes, you'll confuse yourself, and you'll confuse those that you're trying to help. And so then the social interaction is not what it could be, and not what you want it to be. So remember that. And so that's how I mentally try to be like, okay, how do I need to approach this? What's my perspective? What's my hat? What's my mindset? Who am I trying to help? Am I in this space, that space, or the other? And that helps me confirm my action and my confidence in moving forward, because I know who I want to be in that state, in that mindset. And that confidence directly relates to your social fitness, because you know who you are, you know what you're doing, and you know what your mission is. And so I think that comes with practice. But remember, you don't have to wear all those hats at the same time.
Right.
Please don't wear all those hats at the same time. But that is something that changed me as well, because taking the hats off, glasses, whatever accessory you want to have it be, I don't care. Find the one that works for you. Maybe it's sneakers. I know some people really get schnazzed out with their sneakers. That's great. Put yourself in that space, that mindset, so that you can show up and be that social person in that space and be all that you're called to be. I think that was probably my biggest turning point.
That is so awesome. This has been so incredible. Now, if somebody wants to get more information from you, find out more of what you're doing, where can they go to get more on you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you'll see this in the Facebook group, but I do have a Facebook business page. You can find me at Justine Mader HQ, or you can find my website as justinemader.com. Very easy to find. I'm pretty straightforward. Keeping it simple. But yes, no, Tori, you brought up so many good points, and I'm just so grateful that you're bringing this to your audience, because we all need to be socially fit. There is no person on this planet that doesn't need to, especially with our current circumstances, to reset, realign, and figure out what they desire to do to be that best person in their field and genius and all that kind of great stuff. And I'm just so grateful that we were able to collaborate on this today. It was just my pleasure.
Me too, me too. This has been awesome.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad.
Thank you again for everything, and we will talk soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, you guys.
Bye.